This is a Fox News Alert. Welcome to Washington. I'm Brett Baer. President Trump's former chief strategist, Steve Bannon, under fire tonight from President Trump. A blistering presidential statement this afternoon saying when Bannon was fired, he, quote, not only lost his job, he lost his mind. The jaw-dropping response coming hours after excerpts from a new book were published in which Bannon called a 2016 meeting between Trump campaign officials and a Russian lawyer, quote, treasonous and unpatriotic. Bannon also warned that a special counsel investigation that looked into money laundering could take down members of the president's family and topple his presidency. The White House now calls this book trashy tabloid fiction. But the author says he was given unfettered access inside the early days of the Trump White House and completed more than 200 interviews, many of them on the record. Correspondent Kevin Cork is following all the developments from the North Lawn. Good evening, Kevin.
Hey there, Brett, from a very chilly White House North Lawn. Actually, I think this is important to point out for the viewers at home. Steve Bannon wasn't officially a part of the Trump campaign at the time of that now infamous meeting over at Trump Tower, but that has not stopped him from not only weighing in on it, but also leveling some pretty serious accusations. And that left the White House today in a fighting mood.
Did the president's son, Donald Trump Jr., commit treason?
Is the president now blocking Steve Bannon?
How surprised were you at what you read?
An otherwise frigid day in the nation's capital suddenly turned white hot with controversy.
I think furious, disgusted would probably certainly fit when you make such outrageous claims and completely false claims against the president, his administration, and his family.
White House officials reacting to explosive excerpts that surfaced from the forthcoming book, Fire and Fury, inside the Trump White House.
I know that the book has a lot of things so far of what we've seen that are completely untrue. You have many people that have quotes that are sourced to them that are now coming out publicly and saying that those things are not true.
In the book, author Michael Wolff reports that the president's former chief strategist Steve Bannon described the now infamous Trump Tower meeting between the president's son and a group of Russians during the 2016 campaign as, quote, treasonous and unpatriotic. Bannon reportedly said that he believed that after the meeting, the Russians were taken to see then-candidate Trump himself. The chance that Don Jr. didn't walk these Jumos up to his father's office on the 26th floor is zero, he said. President Trump has repeatedly denied meeting Russians during the campaign. As for the ongoing Russia probe, Bannon surmised that Special Counsel Bob Mueller is focusing his attention on possible money laundering involving Trump acolytes in an effort to ensnare the president. They're going to crack Don Jr. like an egg on national TV, he said. The president, who's not been seen on camera since returning from his holiday vacation to Florida, issued a blistering response, saying in part, Steve Bannon has nothing to do with me or my presidency. When he was fired, he not only lost his job, he lost his mind, adding, Steve doesn't represent my base. He's only in it for himself. Bannon's suggestions in the book appear in sharp contrast to an interview he gave last year about so-called Russian collusion.
Look, I was there. It's a total and complete farce. Russian collusion is a farce.
Okay. The row over the book comes as another controversy was brewing over the president's tweet about North Korea, in which he suggested that his so-called nuclear button was bigger and more powerful than that of Kim Jong-un. An online outburst deemed by some as unbecoming.
President Trump seems happy with macho boasts and belligerent threats that get us nowhere. President Trump's foreign policy by tweet will not advance our standing in the world.
Back to the book for just a second there, Brett. The First Lady's office is also weighing in on this. Stephanie Grisham, the spokesperson for the First Lady, saying that this book is destined to be clearly sold in the fiction section of the bookstores. It'll sell nonetheless. Brett?
Much more on all this with the panel. Kevin, thank you.
So Donald Trump just announced he's giving out the most dishonest and corrupt media awards to its biggest offenders. This is a first. But are you surprised? Have you noticed the media is an object of criticism for the president? So what does that cause? Well, the media seems as robust as ever. Everyone's either a Woodward or a Bernstein when they aren't high. Similarly, homicides in Chicago have fallen 60% in 2017, a welcome reduction from the bloodshed that, again, made its mayor a target of Trump's ire. So do you see my point? Why didn't this reduction occur under Obama? And why wasn't the media more aggressive during the same time? The aggressive journalism and aggressive policing are actually resets, due in part to what I call the PTW effect, prove Trump wrong effect. For years, Fox News railed against media bias. Did the media care? Not really. For the last few years, we've covered Chicago's problems. Did Rahm Emanuel listen at all? No, he slammed Chick-fil-A instead. Yet now we're seeing the media adjust its behavior over accusations of fake news, and now a city mayor, under a president who isn't his best friend, put more cops on the street. My theory? Bureaucrats and media hate Trump so much that they can't let him win the argument. So they up their game just to shut the guy up. So laugh at Trump's tweets about Chicago or Iran, the media, or whoever he chooses to target. It may be the best motivational tool we got. Geraldo, don't you think the media is now extra motivated because every time they screw up, they got to listen to Trump make fun of them?
Well, I think that I'm old enough to have lived through and been in the business during President Nixon, and he could not buy a break. President Trump, I think, gets even worse press than President Nixon did. I think that absolutely everything he does is construed in the most evil, negative way possible. And these awards that are coming out next week, next Monday, it's a gimmick. It's kind of a shtick. But on the other hand, I was in Puerto Rico with the president when Paul Krugman, the Nobel-winning economist for the New York Times, wrote the story of how President Trump's neglect of Puerto Rico led to a cholera epidemic in Puerto Rico. There was no cholera epidemic in Puerto Rico. Are you nominating Krugman? I nominate Paul Krugman. I nominate him, the Nobel laureate economist, for the whatever he's going to call these raspberries.
Yeah. He's on intellectual welfare. They let him say whatever he wants, and he's always wrong, Kimberly. Do you have any nominations? What do you make of these awards?
Yeah, I think this is going to be very funny. They're going to have to put everybody on CNN, like Don Lemon and Jake Tapper, and everybody on like 5-second delay, because they're going to be like losing it, freaking out, because they're going to try to defend themselves, say, no, we're against these awards. We're actually very fair. We're honest. What is President Trump saying? So I'm sure they're actually quite nervous about it. And I like that he's taking control of the situation. He's behind the wheel saying, I'm going to tell you what I think about you. I'm going to say it straight to your face. And that's it. I'm going to tell the whole world. I like the approach. He's using it, I think, effectively, diplomatically, the international stage, as relates to national security, whether it's immigration, it's taxes. It's his approach. It worked for him during the campaign, so he's doing it still.
You don't think it threatens the First Amendment?
No, I think the First Amendment is solid. Last time I checked with the U.S. Supreme Court.
I think it'll be fine.
You know what it is? You know what it is, Dana? It's something you would do on a show. We put it like, what are your predictions for 2018 or winners and losers? This is a guy born and bred watching Fox News.
It was the first thing I thought when I saw it last night is that the 5 is going to have the best ratings on Monday. Yes. It's Monday at 5.
Yes.
I think it's good if it's done with a laugh, which I think it could be, right? So, like, if it's let's hold you up for ridicule in the media, I don't think that's necessarily good. Krugman's obviously a good example. And I think if the tone and tenor of it is right, I think it could actually be kind of a joke and maybe even fun for everybody. I do think there is something to be said about how other countries see it and how other countries use it against their own people. And I think that's not good.
Really? Do you really? I've heard that argument, and I understand, and I read the editorials that always say that. But I travel a lot, and no one ever comes up to me and says, see, you have fake news in America. What do they come up to?
What do they say?
Hey, buddy, you want to buy some?
Oh, my God.
I thought you were going to say selfie. But
That's what I thought, too. I remember when your selfie was stalking me on Instagram.
Jesse? No, I'd say we're watching the Trump presidency, but as you said, we're watching the Trump show. And the show's on at 5, so we're going to get a great number.
I think it was on purpose.
Yes. And
because he loves the 5.
Like you said in the monologue, the media into being more fair and balanced. Either that or he's just branding them as, phony losers.
Yeah, but also like Rahm Emanuel. Now he's doing this. He didn't do this under Obama. Why? That's so weird to me. It's just interesting to me.
I don't think the media has enough self-awareness to course correct.
Right.
Because I think they're so blinded by the Trump hatred that they don't recognize his comedy chops.
Yeah.
If I were the CNN people getting all these awards, I would just say, I'd make fun of his hair. I'd say focus on North Korea. I'd laugh about it.
Yeah.
But they think this is like a press genocide. And they're all victims, and the First Amendment's under attack.
5 seconds
and they take themselves way too seriously.
All right.